That's what they call a group of fluffers. It's a bony pod.
That's great.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, presented by CinemaSins.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, a weekly look at everything going on inside the world of CinemaSins. I'm Aaron Dicer, and I'm joined as always by Jonathan Watkins.
Hello.
And Danae Hughes.
I'm a Jedi.
We write for CinemaSins and TV Sins and do various other things inside the CinemaSins universe as well. What are you doing with your Jedi powers, Danae?
Right now I'm trying to summon my saber like a warlock with packed of my weapon.
Well, that's funny because...
My weapon packed. I think, did you mean weapon pack? Or you packed, like you loaded your weapon?
Summoning the saber could also be a term for another occupation we talked about in the outtakes, but you'll get to those eventually down the line and know what we're talking about.
How the last, I think, 3 weeks, Aaron has been the one to mention the outtake
It's fun.
first.
It's fun.
Like,
Guys,
I quit doing it because people gave me shit, and I just stopped.
It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun.
Now Aaron's doing it.
Before we go on, I have to clarify, Jonathan, when you're a warlock in Dungeons and Dragons, you get to choose these different paths, and one of them is called Pact of the Blade, and you can summon a blade out of nowhere.
You're saying P-A-C-T.
I am.
You're not saying P-A-C-K-E-D.
I'm not.
I'm with you now.
Good.
We're
Glad we
together.
clarified all that. Did either of you guys have anything you want to talk about before we get into the SinSide Scoop and such, or we just find our way right in?
No.
Okay, we're going on into the SinSide Scoop.
What's he building in there?
I've got a secret.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
This is a true story.
We're going to talk about the stuff from this week and process of sinning it, how we felt about the stuff we're sinning in general. Kick it off with Doritos Time Travel. This was a Jeremy Scott script. Jeremy writing on this one. So how do we feel about snack chips?
This is well, I will say I don't eat chips as much as I used to. My daughter actually recently got braces, so she can eat chips, and so we're not getting as much now. But I used to be a big Doritos fan myself, but
I love Doritos. I
don't eat them anymore.
I love Cool Ranch Doritos. I love regular Doritos. Yeah, I really enjoy the seasoning to tortilla flavor.
I used to kill Cool Ranch back in the day.
I have to be careful though, because do you ever get that chip that's got like all the seasoning on it?
That's the worst.
Like somehow, like the seasoning just was like, everybody attack this chip, and it's just like clumped on one chip. You have to pay attention to that. It will surprise you and end the good feelings very, very quickly. If
it's the worst,
it really is.
It's the worst.
Is that worse than the chip that doesn't have any at all?
The chip that doesn't have any at all is great. That's like my favorite chip in the bag. So.
I mean, that's just bland, but that's fine. This is like it's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's like you just bite into like a ice cube full of powder or something. It's weird.
It's bad. It's bad news. Beware the over-seasoned chip is all I'll say.
Yeah, my metaphors or whatever this week are really odd, so I apologize. Like ice cube of dust. I don't know what I'm talking about right now.
We're out of our element. We're recording our show several hours outside of our normal window. So we're all like, ugh.
Yeah.
And
do you guys like chips?
To celebrate talking about Harold and Kumar, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Danae, you haven't given your chip opinions. Listen, you got to give your chip opinions. Yeah, your chip opinions.
I like them. I have particular flavors I enjoy.
What's your favorite chip?
Just like most
What's your favorite chip?
Salt and vinegar.
I can't stand those.
My wife
but,
likes those too. I don't like the taste of vinegar.
Really? I'm sorry. It always it is more surprising to me that people do like the taste of vinegar than that they don't. I can't believe anybody puts vinegar in their mouth on purpose. I don't understand. I don't get it.
I'm not. But eating a chip's not the same thing, right? I mean,
to me, it kind of feels like it, but yeah.
It does to me too. I do know fish people. Are you a fish person today? Like, do you eat fish? Why is that funny?
Fish people.
No. Followed by, why is that funny?
Sorry, are you a person who enjoys to eat
fish?
Are you
a fish person? Yes, I am. Yeah, I have gills.
Do you put... But a lot of people eat vinegar with, fish.
Oh, I see. I was not putting it even together why we were going there, but yeah.
There's this creature in World of Warcraft called the Murloc. It's like, oh, oh, that makes this fishy sound. And so that was what I was laughing at in my imagination.
No, that's I totally get why you're laughing. I just said, do you guys, is that just not a Missouri thing? Like you said, or a Michigan thing?
No, yeah, you can definitely put vinegar on fish.
I always thought lemon. I thought lemon was the thing to put
I
on
meant,
fish.
like, do you not refer to people like what they like that? Do you not, like, are you a hamburger person? Like, you wouldn't say that?
No, I think I would say, do you like hamburgers?
No, that makes sense. That's the more accurate thing to say. I think that's just a weird, like, I don't know, Jonathanism.
I've heard it.
I don't know what
I've heard it.
Maybe I would say, like, he's a grill guy. You know, I know what you're
totally
saying.
get
I
it.
just don't usually. Yeah. But I also have too vivid of an imagination. So when you ask me, are you a fish person? I'd be like, yes, I am.
I was just thinking about last week where you're like, no, khakis are correct. I was like, no, I mean, did I use vernacular correctly? Is what
I'm a mermaid. We have a love of chips in this house. My husband is a recovering chip collector. So he used to, when he went to the store, if there was new flavors of anything or they were having a chip sale, he'd pick up several bags. And then when we moved, we had to move an entire box of unopened, yet to be used chips. And when we put them into our new pantry, it filled up an entire section of the pantry. And I said, we're not getting any more chips until all of these are gone. And it was months before we made our way through all the chips because he loves to have a variety. He likes to have a miniature grocery store in our house, but he will pick up flavors that I would never eat. So it's him slowly going through ones. But I love Doritos. Doritos are a chip that I don't want to enjoy, but I actually crave. So anytime I make just a plain sandwich for lunch, I automatically instantly want Doritos.
No, I have that same mental thing too. If I make a PB&J and we don't have Doritos, I'm like, oh, that's not a full meal.
With PB&J though, I don't know that I would go. I would go barbecue with PB&J.
I'm bland with PB. I'm Lay's, like just straight up like Lay's.
Straight Lay's with PB&J sounds better than Doritos for some reason.
But to each their own.
Isn't it interesting? We all have these different flavor combos that we enjoy.
I'll tell you though, but the Doritos and Cheetos, because I love Cheetos too, but I've gotten to where I'm so weird about getting like messy.
Yeah.
Like my hands sticky and messy and stuff. So like I think that's why I've kind of gotten away from that because it just.
Yeah, we've had this conversation because people have recommended the chopsticks thing to eat the Cheetos with.
The Cheetos, yeah. So maybe I need chopsticks to eat Doritos
Could be. I will say I do like Dorito commercials as well. I think they've done some really fun commercials. And I enjoy this commercial. I remember seeing it the first time and enjoying it. But yeah, we can go into the sins. Jonathan, why don't you kick us off?
Sure. Sorry, I didn't have it. I had my bony pod still pulled up. Oh, that sounded weird.
Sorry, guys. Can we pause the show? My bony pod is showing.
Oh my God.
It's what they call a group of fluffers. It's a bony pod.
That's great. So that's like a flock of fluffers is a bony pod?
A bony pod, yeah.
Oh my God. A murder of crows. So I like who just willingly goes inside a neighborhood kid's box fort. I thought was really funny. What, did you guys forget we were talking about the commercial?
No,
It was like dead silence.
No, I think that was funny.
What are we doing, guys? This edit. This fucking edit.
I feel bad for Aaron. No, but what I liked about that, who just willingly goes inside this neighborhood kid's box fort, because I thought where they were going with that, Jeremy wrote it, narrator, whatever, was like how weird that would be to just go play with a neighborhood kid if you're a grown man. But it's more to do with, instead of doing that, because I think like the sin following up that, like instead of doing that, you should just like give them a cookie or a Kool-Aid.
Right, yeah.
Like, I don't know. That was funny to me. And I'm going to guess all the stone.
Yeah.
And V-neck t-shirts for men. I appreciated that.
Yeah. That's all I wear these days.
Aaron felt seen.
I did.
I thought it was funny.
I felt attacked.
Yeah, but yours is like a barely a V-neck.
Thank you.
You're not like...
It's not a consummate V, as a strong bed might say. Danae, what about you?
I wrote down giving a loudspeaker to a kid is 100% always a sin.
Yes.
That was one of the highlights for me.
You guys mentioned mine, and I also had he's 10 levels of stupid below Bill and Ted. I thought that was funny. All right, let's move on to TV Sins for the week. We are still doing Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And this week is episode 3, Power Broker. This is a...
Mostly Dicer.
Is this the one that was mostly me?
I think so. Yeah, this is when I had just gotten my second vaccination and I got really sick.
It's, Oh, yeah, that's right. Because you sent me a message like, I'm just kind of throwing a combine together and I'll get it to you here in just a second.
So Danae had done her first run of
my
notes,
rough draft.
like her rough draft notes.
Mm-hmm.
And basically I took my finished script and then kind of beefed out like 5 or 6 of yours.
Interpreted mine, which is something like, fuck this shoe and that's great.
That's right.
Have you guys watched the finale? Because we're recording this on the day of the finale.
Yes, I've seen all 6 episodes.
You didn't?
No, I woke up and I watched How It Should Have Ended channel for WandaVision
I haven't
and
watched
Wonder
that
Woman.
yet. You sent that video to us when I responded about the finale. I have not watched that yet. I need to.
Yeah, I did something completely unrelated to my job. Whoops.
No, well, I mean, I'm not. I just wanted to. I wanted to be able to go on social media, so I went ahead and watched it at 7 o'clock in the morning.
I do. It's the first thing I do when I wake up. Honestly, like I wake up, I get my phone, I put my headphones in, and I watch the Disney show that came out on Friday morning.
I watched it on a TV, but
I won't spend too much time talking about it because we've talked about it each time so far. But that is one of the biggest differences for me from WandaVision to this is I put this show off. But every morning when WandaVision came out, I watched it first thing so that when we recorded the show, we could talk about it because I was so excited to talk about it.
Maybe you'll get that again with Loki.
Maybe.
And we can do it.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it was because it was more of a mystery unfolding, and this isn't really a mystery.
Not at all.
It's a more filling in
going off this episode, we don't know who the power broker is.
Or do we?
Or do we? ... And I still think there's quite a bit more to that, but I have that opinion on that. But
so in this particular episode, we break out Zemo from jail, which we talked about last week a little bit, and then we go to this cool, crime lord metropolis to get information about where Carly is. Is that the point of going there? Because they're trying to find Carly?
They're trying to find the super soldier. They're trying to track down the super soldier stuff, where it's coming from, and he has contacts in Madripoor that might know, kind of thing.
And this is the first episode where we really get a lot of Zemo, right?
Oh, yes.
I just want to say welcome back, Daniel Bruhl.
Yeah.
That dude is awesome.
He is. Good.
He is perfectly cast as Zemo. Who's always been like one of my favorite villains, and I'm hoping is leading to something that I was telling Aaron about the other day. I was pretty excited about, with the introduction of some other people that have come in other episodes and stuff. So.
Yeah.
But
very nice.
Love Baron Zemo.
For me, this is where I started to disconnect from the show a little bit. I didn't love this episode.
Me too, I think.
Me three.
This is the start of pretty much a 2-episode run. This episode and the next episode, where I'm just like, I may not actually enjoy the rest of this show. Because it feels like it's forcing a lot of things and not doing a lot even with the things it's forcing.
I'm really curious to talk to you about the finale then, because I thought the finale fixed a lot of that.
It does. It is definitely, the finale is definitely a good attempt at fixing some of that stuff.
And I will say too, there's some stuff in the finale where I am curious to watch it again, because there was some stuff in the finale I just geeked out so much over.
Yeah, I don't want to go into a lot of the finale now.
Yeah.
So I'll just finish my thoughts on on this. No, I think it's a good thing to talk about, because we're just kind of talking about our experience with the show. But it could also be argued that I think what you're talking about with the finale, it could also be argued makes it even worse. It either makes it better or makes it even worse, depending on kind of how you're feeling it.
I think the stuff with Sam is pretty great.
Absolutely. It's the best part of the show. And now we're just talking about the finale. So let's go back to episode 3.
One of the things I found incredibly frustrating about this episode, we talked about the convenience of the storyline. If you stop and ask yourself questions like, how do they have outfit changes for Sam and Zemo? How is it? Are we just supposed to? So they break this person out of jail. Nobody from any government comes in to interrupt this or stop it immediately. I guess because he's rich and none of his assets have been frozen, we have access to jets and places to stay and clothing that perfectly
he turns
fits.
into Batman in this episode, right? Like that's basically he turns into Bruce Wayne / Batman.
It was funny. You guys have made a comment about, was that in this episode where you made that? Oh yeah, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
Because,
I think so, yeah.
Zemo has always been the MCU's version of Batman. No, you said something about his Ezzy Batman, and I started thinking about it, and I'm kind of like, he kind of is,
right? He really is
in a weird way. But even like in the comics and stuff, I'm saying, I mean, he is like this rich guy but he's just more of a villain usually, but not always. But yeah, that was
it turns into this. That was a very good thing. Convenient. It's just like, this is where it goes. Oh, we're like just jet set and we're going places. There's no questions asked. We're along for a ride. Suspension of disbelief goes to another level. So like on episode 1, we have all these crazy fight scenes and we're suspending our disbelief about the abilities of a regular person who's obviously very athletic, Sam, wearing wings, doing all of these stunts in the air. So we're suspending our belief about his powers and abilities. He's not even a super soldier. So then we're suspending our next level of belief over here. Okay, now this is another layer of that. They're completely untouchable, independent people. Bucky's able to do whatever Bucky wants to do. Sam can do whatever Sam wants to do. And I just don't think that the world should allow for that. And so then I'm like, well, what am I watching this for? Is it for the action scenes? Is it for the intrigue? Like, what's the story here that I'm going for? Because I'm not really rooting for Captain America. I'm not really, I'm not rooting for Zemo. I would love for Bucky to have a happy ending, but dude is tortured for a reason. He bad things happened to him, and not all of this was his fault. I want him to have resolution. I don't know. It was a weird episode. So
yeah, I'm with you.
I guess, and maybe I don't know. Maybe that's, I don't mind just being entertained. I mean, and this show has never not entertained me.
Right.
But I do think I think it reaches for, I think it's trying to say things that even after this finale, it didn't completely succeed at. And I don't know how to feel about that. It's weird. I don't know that I would want another 1 or 2 episodes of this, but they yada over a bunch of crap.
So
and
my go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I interrupted you.
Well, I was just going to say the thing that Danae keeps going back to, the whole Zemo getting broken out of prison and Bucky and that's fine that they break them out. That can be part of the story, but you're right. It doesn't make any sense. Like I feel like there's something that could be put in there to make it make more sense that Bucky and Sam are not facing any consequences for that. Cause that's a big fucking deal that they broke Zemo out of jail. It should be.
Yeah.
I will say what this show is also trying to say with the GRC and everything is that the world is in, like, after everybody came back, the world doesn't know what to do. And so the world itself is kind of the country itself, the world, whatever, is kind of in a state of rebuilding and just kind of confused. So maybe there is some,
like slipping through the cracks kind of a thing that can happen. Yeah. But then the show kind of asks us to fill in those blanks. And sometimes I love when a show does that because it forces us to be really intellectual about things. And sometimes I just want at least a little seed that I can kind of grab onto and...
Yeah, no, I agree with you because, and the thing is, but they're focusing so much on things that don't seem to really matter. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't they, focus more on that? I don't know. There's some weird storytelling choices.
With how many times did they say, why didn't you give us why did you give the shield away? They could take all that time and they could just cut over a little bit to some other story.
I think if anything we learned from this about Jonathan's opinion of the show, he does not like that conversation.
So I have heard rumblings and I have not researched it. So I apologize if I'm speaking out of turn. But what I'm picking up is there was an entire virus storyline in this show that was taken out.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
So there was an entire thing about a virus coming from Madripoor and that they didn't, like, the whole COVID thing and blaming an Asian country and like all that stuff, and so they had to scramble.
That is crazy.
Now, okay, listen, I should research this then, because again, this is just I could be completely wrong. But
I don't do much research into these beforehand because I don't want to know what they're doing. So I would have missed this. So yeah.
I think it was on a podcast that I listened to. This is all secondhand. But yeah, there is, and I only mention it just to say that there may be some excuse, for some of the weirdness in, how things move along. So
this is from MCUexchange.com. It says Charles Murphy on Murphy's Multiverse revealed Marvel's debut miniseries Falcon the Winter Soldier Boy band has extended its shooting schedule due to rewrites of a plot, and that it all may have happened due to the coronavirus currently threatening lives in the real world. It goes on, but that's the launching point for the rest of this article.
This was supposed to be the first show.
It was, yes. This was supposed to be before
so
WandaVision.
Right.
Yeah.
And it all was supposed to be after Black Widow, and there's characters being introduced, which not this episode, but there's characters being introduced here that were supposed to be introduced in Black Widow. When you really think about what Disney has had to tightrope through this whole thing,
God.
It's just it's crazy that they're making it work as well as they are, to be honest.
But it worked, right? Because I think WandaVision being the first show couldn't have been a better thing for them.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to know for sure what a different timeline would look like, but yeah.
So this article was written. Oh, it doesn't have a timeline, but it's the way that it's written. It seems like it was during the pandemic. It says the coronavirus. On top of the coincidental fact that the show's production company is Pandemic Productions LLC, the earliest of plot leaks and speculation all shared in common the idea of some kind of device unleashing a pandemic across the populace. But there are rumors that this is no longer the case. The coronavirus has claimed 3,000 lives worldwide when this article was written, spreading quickly with potential to do serious damage to the global economy. By the time the show premieres on Disney Plus this August, it could meet the criteria of a true pandemic. And from what we've heard, Disney could be trying to get ahead of a potential disaster with rewriting and reshooting some of the series.
So there you go.
With a heavy emphasis on the first couple of episodes.
But to be honest, and I don't know this for a fact, but when you start saying that, I start thinking about, and this is stuff we learn after this, but the idea of what the power broker would be more involved with. And then they probably brought in the idea of Carly and the terrorists. I mean, they could have always played some part in it, but I feel like they maybe got pushed to the forefront.
Maybe they had to lean into that.
Because it's still the same.
That's really fascinating.
Yeah, it's still somebody coming in and trying to disrupt what's going on, and I don't know. The show's interesting, but it does feel like it could be better, and it's always entertaining. And I love Stan and Mackie.
Yeah, I think they're I think they're great together.
Like I said today, I was like, I would watch 10 movies with them.
Well, let's.
But hold on before we go on, I just want to say, if this is true, mad props. To go in and just go, okay, if we're going to wipe out this massive part of our storyline, how can we take what we already have, reconfigure a new storyline, add in some reshoots to make it all make sense? And so, there is this feeling of just, we're skipping over this, we're moving over here, we're moving over here. And now it's maybe not intentional, it's circumstantial. Mm-hmm. And that shifts my respect for what they're doing. In a way.
This is now Danae's favorite show.
I love this show now, guys. Instantly.
Well, good, because we've got 3 more weeks to talk about it on Behind the Sins. Let's get into this episode specifically. Jonathan, you get to kick us off since you didn't write on this one.
I am not a baby bird, Marvel. I can chew my own plot food.
It's true.
I don't know why I did that like a performance. But
I loved it. It was great.
Good.
Scene.
And scene.
Nice.
In case you confused it with Berlin, Take My Breath Away. I don't know if that's Aaron or Danae, but someone has been playing around with this, I've noticed, over the last couple of months, this
Berlin.
traditional sin.
No, that's me. The first time I did that was in, what was the Will Smith movie that came out in high frame rates recently?
Gemini Man.
Jiminy Man. There were a couple in there.
That's right.
That kind of started that thing where it's just using it as a pun instead of a city.
And is it Santa Claus? Please tell me it's Santa Claus. I remember that when I was reviewing the script and everything. That one had me dying. Zemo is, and then just the Wakanda pun. For some reason I didn't actually write it down, but just what was
final
it you
one?
said? Yeah.
Marvel wanted to walk on the convenience side of the street. Ayo.
Ayo.
Yeah.
And then even the Ayo.
Yeah.
And I also like that you show respect for mobile protocol. I thought was very funny.
Yeah. Danae, what about you?
I really enjoyed the prison break sins just because that is so sinful. Yeah, we write jokes. Yeah, sometimes our sins are related to completely unrelated things and they're just silliness. But then there are also things that are just fucking sinful. And that prison break is absolutely a shit show.
That was one of those things where like, we got to get them out. We're just going to do it, and it wasn't, I don't know.
I still don't know. I still genuinely don't know how they're trying to tell us how that happened. Are they saying he already had a prison break planned and
it doesn't make
Sebastian
any sense.
It doesn't make
pulled it
any
off
sense.
for
Why
him?
is he even in a prison like that? Like that didn't even make any sense. Like he would just be in Gen Pop.
No. And then he just he walks down, he somehow goes from being in his space to out of his space to walking down a hallway to a bathroom as if no one would stop him, pulls in a guard, changes guard clothes, and then somehow knows his way to get out, like which doors to go through. It was...
Well, and just that there wouldn't be secondary guards at the exit or anything like it's just it's such a...
It was ridiculous.
It's so weird to me because he has that key card in that book. And it's just like, who put the key card in your book? Like, did you already have it?
Because he says, what's your favorite book?
Right. And so it's like Stan's telling, I don't know. It is so weird. Like something's missing. I literally cannot figure out how that's supposed to have happened.
There has to be a villain that just like reads like James Patterson. Like every villain's always like Machiavelli,
I have that book, by
Yeah,
the way.
like
Dostoevsky.
which one's like Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, I want somebody to be like, oh man, Dean Koontz. I read a lot of Dean Koontz.
I also liked whenever Sam is running and he's complaining about running in heels, and there's just this clear shot. It's just a normal fucking shoe. So you don't get to say running in heels is hard if you're not in platform shoes. Come on.
Anthony Mackie looks so ridiculously. I mean, that's part of the performance too, but he just looks so like uncomfortable, like through that whole sequence, which kind of made it better.
Anyway, those are the ones that I pointed out.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I was just getting ready to do the ones that I had earmarked.
Yeah, you were gonna do like how the show normally.
Yes, I was going to continue the show in its normal format. Picnics are not easy and generally suck. There's wind and critters and bumpy seating, and Aunt Jerry's about 5 hard lemonades into a rant on border control. And honestly, when something is terrible, it should be called a picnic.
And it's so weird that because this wasn't supposed to be the same week as American Dad, and I actually picked up from that and put a sin in American Dad about picnics.
Yeah, we went hard
so
on picnics.
it looks like we. I mean, no, I'm sorry, we planned that.
Yeah, all very purposeful.
I just want to clarify for myself. Are you saying you think you wrote the picnic song in a picnic sin in American Dad?
I did. I wrote the one in American Dad. I didn't write this one because I didn't work on this script. I'm positive I did. Maybe you added to it.
I'm gonna go look because this is just too fun.
It might be a combine. I'm almost sure
it might be a combine, but I thought it, and you might have written something too. Maybe we both had stuff. But I just thought
I specifically wrote the picnic part because it started here. But I could be totally wrong.
I wrote it because I was like, oh hey, another mention of picnic, and I thought that was really funny.
Okay, so in the American Dad, there is no mention of picnic on the Jonathan tab.
Well, never mind.
But there is a picnic
God, that's weird.
In the Aaron tab.
That's so weird. There you go.
Isn't that weird? That happens to me too, though.
These are the moments. When
I lost my mind.
No. These are the moments when you just need to realize.
These are the moments.
Like all of us need to realize how faulty the human brain is. And the things that you think you remember, for sure, the things that you think you know, you could be wrong. That's all of us. That's not just Jonathan. That's all of us.
Yeah. If you ever tell my wife that, I'll kill you.
I'm going to remember you said that.
She knows I'm wrong all the time.
But yes, I did want to mention it for that reason because we went hard on picnics this week for sure.
That's funny.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Let's see. My response from the future when someone tells me this is their favorite episode of the show somehow makes it into
like
the
that one a
script, which I find ironic because people are calling this their favorite episode, and it's just for the stupid Zemo dancing meme. That's the only reason Zemo dances in this
that
episode.
was funny. Before I even saw the meme, I remember that part of the show. I was like, wait, what just happened? I had to rewind it.
I wanted to bring up, for no particular reason, the Deus Ex Power Brokena, Ex Sharona, Ex Bothana. Just for no particular reason, wanted to bring
Man,
that
I love
up.
seeing Sharon back, by the way.
Yeah, totally.
I'm a huge Emily Van Camp fan.
And then saying, you think you can do these things, Zemo, but you can't, directly quoting Finding Nemo, but swapping in Zemo was a lot of fun for me as well. So there you go.
Can I just say, though, before we go on, that Zemo dance is 1 second of a 30 of an hour, almost an hour. 1 second.
It barely happens.
Barely,
it is funny,
happens.
though.
You blink, it's done. You reach for a drink, you missed it. So
Is that really why people think this is the best episode, though?
Listen, the comment that I pulled was from Cool Cat, who said, "There's literally nothing wrong with this episode. This is the Dancing Zemo episode." That's literally the comment. Like,
yeah,
it's the Dancing Zemo episode for 1 second of frame.
1
It's not.
second.
It's not the worst episode. I'm really wondering if this is just going to be. We'll talk about that when we talk about it in a couple weeks. But I'm curious if the penultimate episode is just going to be something that they can't figure out, because both WandaVision and Falcon have screwed that episode up. So
yeah, I don't know. I kind of like episode 5, but I don't love it. All right, let's move on to American Dad. We did the pilot. This was a Jonathan script. This was me and Jonathan writing on this one.
God, can I just say thank you to whomever did not assign this
You're welcome.
to me?
I'm going to tell you, man, I'd never seen the show before.
Me either.
It was kind of funny. Like, it was like, I don't know. It got me curious to watch more. And then I was reading comments about it, which made me even more want to watch more episodes. I don't know that I'm going to go out of my way to do that quickly, but we might do more. So
I did not have that experience. However, I did certainly enjoy it more than Family Guy.
That's what I'm saying. It was funnier than Family Guy, so that might be all it is. But
could be.
But I do kind of like that. Like, it's really like its purpose. Like, it felt kind of like, I think I told you, it felt kind of like I was trying to send the Colbert Report, because it was it was clearly this really broad stroke.
Yeah,
we're gonna make fun of like the American, patriotic, overly ideal kind of, and but then it kind of ends up becoming that at times, which is kind of what the problem with Family Guy is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I laughed a few times, so that was more than Family Guy.
Yes, I laughed more than Family Guy, but I still didn't necessarily have a good time.
I liked the alien. Is that Roger?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Somebody said we should have taken a cent off for Roger, so I think it was the alien.
Danae, from the outside looking in, though, you are thankful that you didn't have to watch the whole episode.
I don't know. There's just certain shows they just don't. I don't know. They're not interesting to me. I guess I have a hard time with humor like this, where it's really just pushing into things that I'm just like, that shouldn't be funny. And people can laugh at it, and people can find it funny, and it can open up conversations. And I know that like comedy is a really beautiful space to explore,
to push
how you
borders
feel.
and push lines. It always has been,
and I
at
feel
least.
like that's a really important thing. But sitting down and watching a show like this to be like, this is entertaining. I would go to a different cartoon.
Right.
I would just instantly shift over to something else.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not like, hey, I'm going to go watch this now, but it was just kind of one of those things. I think I was just surprised. Like, I just assumed it was just going to be like Family Guy, and I was just going to be kind of like, whatever. Yeah. And I was like, I think I'm kind of want to know what happens to these people.
Well, none of us are super familiar with it, so I think we can go into the sins. Danae, you didn't write on this, so what were some of the ones that you wrote down?
Wow. Yeah, I didn't write anything down.
Oh.
So I meant to.
I'm glad you liked it.
I watched it, but apparently I didn't. I only have my notes for the main channel for some reason, and I don't.
I bet
why.
one that you liked was not having a screen on your window. I bet you enjoyed that one.
I loved that one.
Yeah.
You're letting all the insects in. Which other ones did I like, Jonathan?
Thinking kindness is directly related to scarcity. God, I can't say that word.
Scarcity?
Schenectady.
Scarcity.
Sedectity.
That is one of
Seduction.
that is. I'm so glad I got to point this out because it's always been a pet peeve of mine when people will be like, "Better be nice to them. There's only one of them," and it's like, "That's why you're nice because you're gonna run out of them." It's just this weird thing where you connect the idea of being kind to someone to the fact that you've only got one brother or one mom
and
or
the
whatever.
idea that you've got to because it's family. That I mean, and I think that's definitely changed. But I do definitely when I was younger, that was the thing, right? It's you're stuck with them. Better be nice. It's like
well, that's a little different. If being stuck with somebody is a little different than there's only one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, what are the ones that I like, Jonathan?
This gag is my favorite gag of the show.
I don't have anything written down now, but toaster only bullets. I thought was, Danae thought was really funny.
I thought that one was great because that one was talking about the counters around it, and what a good thing to point out.
My favorite was, unless you're in a relationship with Danny Trejo, you should never sleep this close to a machete.
Machete.
That's how he said it, right?
That's how it's pronounced, right? Machete?
Well, I mean, yeah, but I think that's
Machete.
definitely... Machete doesn't.
Well, I'm going to call you Denis then, because it's the same letter.
That actually made me go rewatch Machete because I had not seen it in a while, and I was like, that movie's fun.
Nice.
And then I also, of course, racketeering.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that one as well.
Yeah, that was my favorite. Yeah, that was really good.
Aaron making a boob joke.
Racketeering. Well, Danae, I really appreciate.
Why do I never get the boob jokes?
What's that?
Why do I never get the boob jokes?
I don't know, because you've got the boobs. I don't know.
I know, but why
what
don't
was that one? I something about guns, and I said boob jokes, and you were like, what? Yeah, I remember. That's the one I remember, but there might have been others.
Danae, I really like the ones you picked out. Jonathan, shame on you for not doing any prep for the show today.
I just have the same ones Danae did. We just picked out the exact same ones.
Actually, I did have a lot of those as well.
I don't know how it happened. Teacher, but I have the same answers as Jonathan this week.
In fact, the only one you didn't mention that I had was one we kind of already talked about, which was the picnic. So the sin, as always, is picnics.
Okay, Aaron, we know it was yours. Okay, we know.
That's what I'm saying. We already talked about it, so I guess we can move on. Let's move on to music video sins. Doja Cat, Kiss Me More. Barrett writing on this one. Any thoughts on the song before we get into the sins?
It's I don't know. It's fine. I mean, I didn't hate. I definitely, it wasn't as much of a non-starter as that Justin Bieber song from last week.
Right.
But, it just it wasn't my thing. As always, I've mentioned this many times on the show. I love seeing Doja Cat, and I will never stop seeing Doja Cat. But this was not one of my favorite songs I've heard of hers. And SZA, is it SZA?
I think so.
I believe so.
Very cool as well.
It is not SZA, as I have been pronouncing it for a long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will do my usual thing. And I think it's...
We need music for this.
I think it's good that we have this a couple weeks after the Montero song, because this is an example, in my mind, of how to use sexuality incorrectly. This song does nothing but talk about having sex. It does nothing but talk about, wanting sex, those kind of things, which is fine. People have sex, people want sex. Like, I get that. But it reminds me of, like, if you compare it to, like, the desire, the bodily function nature, that kind of thing, like, to eating, right? Like, that's something else we all enjoy. There's pleasure in it, that kind of thing. If you were to write a song about eating like this, it would be so weird. It would just be like, oh, and I want to put that donut in my mouth and I want to chew it. And it's just like, okay, like, I get, it's like Weird Al's Eat It. You know what I mean?
It's only weird if you make it weird, Aaron.
What I'm saying is there's no like use for it. You're not using it for something. You're not saying something at all here. There's nothing being said here. It's just, here are my human desires, and I don't know. So that to me is empty. There's a real emptiness to a song like this, whereas opposed to Montero, that was also very sexual. It was being used for a purpose. It had a meaning. It was doing something, and that means more to me personally. Now, everybody's not like that, but that's just, I think it's a good kind of 1-2 example of what I'm talking about when I talk about the sexualization of music.
I don't know why you have to be mean to my future third wife, but it's fine.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We'll still invite you. We'll still invite you to the wedding.
I appreciate that.
I feel like what you're saying is like if somebody wrote a song about a car.
Yeah.
And the song lyrics were, I like a car. I want to drive a car.
Yes.
I want to drive a car because it would maybe make me feel really great.
The car would go.
I want to roll the windows down.
Yes.
It will go vroom vroom.
Yes.
Versus a song that's exploring the dangers of owning a car and all of this, the intricacies of the car.
Or even just more poetic.
Let's write a song about the dangers of a car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got a pop song that's like, I want to drive a car. I want to drive a car. I want to drive a car. and that just becomes a hit on the radio and you're like, what the fuck is this song?
To be
Of
fair,
course you want to drive a car.
Aaron's on a twist
that
and
does
shout
happen. Like, to be fair,
It happens all the time.
that happens all the time. So.
And then you have other pop songs that's like this really beautiful explanation of a car and its purpose in getting from point A to point B. And
you get
the hook is
like
yeah,
Olivia
that's what you're saying.
Rodrigo, that one we did a few months ago, driver's license.
Let's move into the sins on this one.
Well, actually, Barrett had something to say about this. If you want me to tell you what Barrett said. He says, I'm liking the vibe from Doja Cat's music. She's got a pleasant, breathy voice, and her rapping is syncopated nicely, even though I don't think she has much to say in her actual lyrics. SZA is a badass in her own right. So even though this song isn't great, it's elevated by the talent.
I agree with that.
The fucking music video, however, is a weird ass fever dream that involves spaceships, shrinkage, threesomes, gondolas, druggy fruit, lips, holy grail vaginas, and chest radios. I don't like this video. Fiend.
Very nice. Now let's get into the sins. I think I can start us off on this one. I wanted to mention that escalated quickly. I didn't realize one could lead to another so fast after the hugs turned into making love. He says, I guess I need to find a new way to greet my Aunt Kathy. Just made me laugh so hard. And then is it a vase or two people kissing or a vulva? I always forget what they landed on as the answer in Blind Spotting. That made me laugh quite a bit. And then I just had to mention the zipper sound effect that I just found completely floored me. It was just like too far.
Fine.
Just a little bit too much. I just didn't need to go there. But that was amazing.
Was that the I can only masturbate so much?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was very good.
Danae, why don't you go next?
Oddly, all the same lines.
That's amazing. Jonathan, what did you have?
I did have I did love the Aunt Kathy one. That was hilarious. I always love I won't be needing this anymore. So that's
fun.
always a good one. This giant lady's not going to fuck herself. I thought was great. And yeah, man, everyone back on Earth is totally going to believe your alien threesome story.
Moving on to CinemaSins, Harold and Kumar go to White Castle. This was a Jarrett script. Jeremy and Barrett writing on this one. So what did Jeremy have to say?
About the Harolds and the Kumars?
Mm-hmm.
White Castle sandwiches, I refuse to call them burgers, are vile. They are 90% stale bread, 3% onions soaked in used socks, and 7% something that can only be described as meat when you use an asterisk. They may look like there are pickles on there, but you certainly won't taste them. This is a company that puts 5 holes in each piece of meat, which they openly admit is because it makes the slab of dirt cook faster. Cook faster! Here, let me sell you some empty space, you fucking morons. This is something you eat only under the influence of something, and way more likely alcohol than weed, because weed just makes you hungry. Alcohol makes you stupid. No one in their right mind, sober or stoned, would ever go more than 5 miles out of their way for this garbage. Barrett has a number of bad food takes, but this might be the worst. For clarification, I have technically never eaten White Castle cider.
Yeah, I know, he has this detailed opinion.
But I stand by every word. Oh, and the movie isn't as good as you might remember.
I wondered if we were going to get
Shrug.
I wondered if we were going to get to the movie. Yeah, he's famously had gone on White Castle rants before on the Sincast, so that doesn't surprise me.
Going to a White Castle
without actually ever having eaten a White Castle, which I have, and also think it is trash. I agree with everything he said. and also have eaten
Do you
one.
have crystals?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, not here.
I do actually.
I don't think there's a Crystals here. I don't think there's a White Castle here either. I could be wrong. Danae, you've been here.
This is a really cool crystal because there's actually two on. It's got one growing on the front of it, and I have this other crystal that if you hold it up to the light, it's fractured a little bit, and it has rainbows.
Not what we're talking about.
That's way cooler than a crystal burger, though. So
do you also have a White Castle in there somewhere?
I can imagine it.
She probably does.
So, Danae, you have been here longer. Is there actually a White Castle or a Crystals in town in Springfield proper? I don't think there's either here.
We don't have, I don't know if there's White Castles in Nashville, but we don't have one anymore where I'm at outside of Nashville. We had one that closed about 10 years ago.
People talked about it enough that when we traveled, I don't remember where, it doesn't matter. We went through White Castle's drive-thru because we wanted to have a White Castle experience, and I hated it.
So I hated it too.
I'm only aware of one time I've eaten there, and I don't.
Like, what? Why? Why is this something that people? I mean, but there's just different places that exist, and someone might be like, "Why would you go to Brahms? Why Brahms?" And they might have a different opinion just because you have,
I've eaten Crystals several times though, but that was
you're not supposed to. They're wrong.
That was in my drinking days. So Jeremy's probably right about the alcohol versus.
Here's what Barrett had to
what
say.
Barrett say?
Helen Coombs is still funny to me, but as Jeremy would/will likely note, it hasn't aged well at all. Actually, Barrett, he didn't say anything about that.
No, he just ranted about the burgers. That's it.
Gay jokes, off-base racial jokes, and misogyny abound, and this movie wasn't that long ago. Having said that, you feel the chemistry between the two leads, the non-cringy humor is fun, and Christopher Maloney steals the entire movie. Did I say his name right? Or is it Milani?
I mean, I think Barrett misspelled Neil Patrick Harris, but that's fine.
Okay, that's what it is. He continues. I don't think I've ever watched this movie while under the influence of anything, so maybe if that were to happen, I'd enjoy it more. Jeremy and I do fundamentally disagree about White Castle burgers, though, and he's wrong. White Castles aren't an everyday meal or nothing, but they're amazing when you're in the right place at the right time. I'm liking the vibe from Doja Cat's music. Oh, wait, I already read that.
Did you, or did he just keep going?
Also, after Jeremy noted his notes for the White Castle experience, Barrett replies immediately with, Jeremy is mean.
Yeah.
It's true.
Which is why I was playing off that when I said Danae is mean later, in case you didn't catch that. Okay, good.
I know.
I did not think you were mean.
I know you guys hate me. Yeah, the chat, our work chat popped off about food after that for about 5 minutes. And then I made a snarky comment that I was just going to mute the channel, to which Chris burns me. And this is why I fear for my job.
People
he says, hey guys.
People are getting a nice little look into our work Slack. I like this.
I know why Chris did this, though, but it had nothing to do with you. But go ahead.
Chris goes, hey guys, I found out you don't have to say mute. You can just go to the channel and mute it. Awesome life hack.
Jeremy always types mute.
That's why I did it too.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's more what he was
now,
referring
don't
to.
you feel like you work for CinemaSins now that you've experienced the work Slack for CinemaSins?
Our work Slacks are
I weirdly
pretty
think
fun.
that Aaron likes this.
Aaron does not like this movie.
I've never seen this movie.
Yeah.
I actually thought you had probably seen it.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not on my frequency. It's just not my frequency of humor, and
It's not on my level, Jonathan.
that's not what I was saying.
I know.
Oh no, I can almost guarantee you I like this movie less than.
But big but. I do get the love for Neil Patrick Harris in this movie. He's absolutely
He's the only thing I like about it.
He shows this level of what's the word when somebody's just great on screen and they're just like charisma. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. He shows this level.
It's a Dungeons and Dragons thing.
Yes, that's right.
Well,
the only time that Danae will help Aaron with vocabulary is if there's a Dungeons and Danae reference.
And I think this probably helped him a lot too, because this feels like the beginnings of Barney, right?
Yeah.
For How I Met Your Mother, even though he's playing himself. But I love when actors play ridiculous versions of themselves.
Yeah.
Michael Cera
Into the World.
Really where This Is the End, right?
Oh, This Is the End. Yeah.
No, we're kind of more like in the middle to the end of our show. It's kind of.
I don't like that movie either, by the way. But yeah. So my two probably least favorite types of comedy and really types of movies: gross out toilet humor, horrible, don't like it all, and stoner comedies. And this is both of those. So. Yeah. I mean, I can still remember, I've only seen this movie once, and I saw it like around when it came out. I think I got like Netflix by mail when that was, when I was still doing that. And I can still remember fast forwarding right after that girl said, let's do battle shits. I can still remember I fast forwarded through that scene as quickly as I could.
I bet. I'm sure you did.
Having never seen this movie, for that to be something that was said as a lead-in, I was just like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh my God.
I've never been asked for battle shit before.
I had forgotten that was Christopher Maloney.
Yeah.
But anyways, no, it's not for me, like Aaron was saying.
Battle shitting shouldn't be for anyone, Jonathan.
I can see why people find it funny if that's the kind of humor they like. I'm not judging.
If I'm going,
it was not made for me.
The only stoner comedy I can think of really enjoying was Dude, Where's My Car? And I was just in the mood for it. And I think those guys are really funny together.
If you count Pineapple, I love Pineapple Express.
Pineapple Express, I had a good time with Pineapple Express.
Is more, like, it's kind of an action movie
it
too.
Is.
There's
it's
a lot more going on there.
Yeah.
I have a hard time, but I guess it would still qualify.
Yeah.
My wife and I still say you want to watch come over and watch 227 and shit. We say that all the time.
Yeah, and I still say thanks to Danae who got me back on the hook. I still say and then and then and then and then. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Let's get into the scenes. Danae, do you want to start this off?
Sure, I can go first. I wrote down the whole nose hair trimming sequence.
Yeah.
Just, of course, how can you avoid that being one of the highlights? Just the whole breaking down of like third who uses scissors to trim their asshole hairs. Everyone knows you either wax that shit or you do the old fashioned pinch and pull. And what I wanted to point out is what was in the script, which is a in parentheses comment from whomever wrote this, which is one of the grosser things I have ever written.
Well, I just love the part. What were you using to trim your asshole hairs? 7 months ago.
Yeah. Yep. So that was really fun.
The old-fashioned pinch and pull, man.
The old-fashioned pinch and pull, and then whomever wrote it was like one of the grosser things I've ever written. Just that has happened to me before, where I'll leave a note on something and just say, I know this is horrible, and I don't. I'm learning about myself right now.
Yeah.
The bong rip joke slayed me. When he went through this whole, like, just how Jeremy enacted the whole entire thing where he's talking about the creation of the movie, the idea of it, playing these two people talking back and forth, totally stoned. I had to stop watching it, finish laughing, and then I wrote to Jeremy and I said, dude, I don't say this often enough, and I don't know if this is going to make you uncomfortable or even if you want to hear this, but you fucking crack my shit up hard. That killed me. So that one was another one that I really enjoyed. And what was the other one? The montage of him being in love with a giant bag of weed and then just going on about if you marry weed, you smoke it.
That's right. You wouldn't marry it. You would smoke it. Yeah.
The deep thinking of that particular scene was wonderful.
Great. Jonathan, what about you?
I love the rest of the movie. It goes on with him having pee-pee hands. Mm-hmm. And I knew Jeremy. I couldn't remember who had worked on this, but I knew Jeremy was one of them once because the only person on our staff that would say pee-pee hands is Jeremy.
Challenge accepted.
Harold and Kumar go to Cringetown. There's a couple of New Jersey sins, which is always funny. New Jersey. Lay's stacks the Stephen Baldwin of tube chips. And that's not how cards work, at least in 2004, which almost felt like Aaron had been seen. But,
Thank you. Also mentioned, is this movie The 16 Candles of the Aughts? And then they play another horrible, aged poorly joke. And they're like, yep, I guess this movie's The 16 Candles of the Aughts. The joke that just recognizes how much soap there is in the soap dispensers. Just like, thank you. Because humor is not going to squeeze itself out of this movie. Just the phrasing on that was so great. Loved that. So you should blame that person for ruining movies for everybody. I thought was really funny when they were blaming the person that gave them the idea.
Yeah, there's a couple of sins that are jabbing haters in a way. One of them is that one, and the other one is going to IMDb, and he's like, "And no, I don't do that."
Yes. And then
it's actually like an unspoken. It's like a rule amongst us to try to keep it all in our own minds as much as we are able. So there could be, like, for example, I went to how this should have ended channel, and I watched the WandaVision, and I was like so entertained because we made a lot of the same,
jokes that they did.
A lot of the same jokes or perspectives, or that we were on the same page. I don't know. It's just there's something about when we did it instantly, like we're not copying. It's just a continued observation.
And let's be very clear. We're not even an ounce insinuating that anyone is copying us either. Like, it's just, the idea that those
people can have the same observations at different times.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm never the first person to have an observation about anything. I always know if I figure something out, I'm like, so many people have already figured this out.
It's too. Yeah.
The one where the one word sin is just romance. That one really slayed me as well. And then stoner movie references are almost always half baked. Had to give props on that one.
I've never seen that movie.
I don't know that I have either. And I don't know that I'm going to change that.
Has Danae seen Half Baked?
Nope.
Would you call Rocket Man a stoner movie?
I've never seen it. I don't. What's that guy's name? It's like Harlan
Williams, I think.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on the filmography of Harlan Williams,
fair
and
enough.
It's nothing personal. Like, I don't have anything against the guy, but I don't think I've really seen. I don't know how.
Man, that movie was like the thing when I was younger. Like, maybe that was just like a church youth group thing. I don't know, but
he's great. And There's Something About Mary though. That whole the hitchhiker sequence and everything is my favorite part of There's Something About Mary.
Yep. All right, let's move on to Soul. This was in some ways an Atkinson script. Chris and I writing on this one, but let's hear from...
And in other ways, it was some more guest writing script.
Yeah. So what did Chris have to say about this?
Chris said, either my second or third favorite movie from last year, Soul, depending on who you ask. This was the first of the new writer tryouts scripts, new writer tryouts being in quotations. But I will go over what my favorite things to pick on in this movie is. The whole afterlife that the movie depicts is his favorite thing. From sending souls straight to an easily escapable escalator to having some Terry type count all these souls with an abacus, to having a mentor program for souls who just don't have their spark, to using name tags where any asshole can pretend to be someone else, like their Felix Le Pupil from Gross Point Blank sneaking into a high school reunion. An outtake I sadly couldn't use because of the music playing in the background. He says it's definitely a think about it too much and everything, and I mean everything falls apart movie, but the journey is fun. The animation is spectacular and rewarding, even if the movie plays the La La Land card and wants to have the character's redemption and happy ending, which are mutually exclusive in my book.
I agree with so much of that until the very last sentence, but yeah, I think this movie does fall apart when you start to think about it in the way that we think about movies. The name tag thing, like, none of that makes any sense. Like, none of this, if you were to actually do systems and practices for the afterlife, none of this is happening. Like, the abacuses, all that stuff is nonsense. I don't think those things are mutually exclusive. I think this movie had to walk a very interesting line with the end, but I know I'm in the minority on this, at least in our kind of movie watching group, but I really think they chose the best possible ending for this movie. Because I think if you give the character this revelation and then take away his chance to use that in his real life, I think you short circuit your own theme and your own message. in some ways. So yeah, I mean, I love this movie. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I think this is incredible stuff, and Pete Docter has my number. So
I love he does mine too, and I didn't even think about, because we were talking about this when it came out. I talked about this on Beyond the Sins, and it's still my favorite movie of 2020.
Nice.
And Pete Docter's films are my favorite Pixar films for the most part. Because what he did in Monsters Inc. and he did Up.
Mm-hmm. Inside Out.
Inside Out. So Monsters Inc. and Inside Out. Now Up, I do need to give another chance, because Up is one that I still don't really know what I think of it, or I don't, I haven't seen it. Yeah. But yeah, Monsters Inc., Inside Out, and Soul, that might even be like my top 3. I don't know. But it's definitely my favorite movie of 2020. I've seen it 8 times. And it moves me every time. I love the ending. I agree with you 100%.
Oh, nice.
I guess I get why people don't, but it is still one of those things. When I first started hearing people had a problem with it, I'm like, really? And then I started thinking about it. I was like, oh, maybe. I don't know. I just think the movie's pure, like, I mean, that sounds silly, but I think the movie's just magic. It's just, I can't, very few movies have like wormed their way into me the way this movie has. Like, or not wormed, but like, I don't know. It just, like, I guess maybe it kind of feels like a jazz song. I don't know. It's just, it's mellow. It's just, I don't know. It's just great. I just love it. I don't know what to say about it.
It's all for me, it's all the beauty and depth of the usual kind of Pete Docter doing that kind of like existential thing that he did in Inside Out with like next level sound and music and animation. Like the stuff in Pixar is always great at that stuff, like always. But I think this is even kind of next level for them. Some of those animation sequences just absolutely blow my mind. And rightfully so. The soundtrack is probably going to win the Academy Award this weekend. Now watch it not happen, and I'll sound like an idiot. But yeah, it's it's been sweeping the awards at the other places, and I don't know. It's just so beautiful. It's just such a beautiful movie.
As much as little as I really cared for Toy Story 4, the animation in that movie was insane, and And so it kind of like they started kind of kicking it up a level, and I think this even took it up farther.
Yeah.
There is something really interesting about the animation in this that I've never seen in any of their films, and it's perfect to look at. I don't know, I just love this movie. I don't,
This was one of those where I tried so hard not to write just like 30 sin removals, like 30 different places. And I think I ended up writing about 4 different places, and I just told Chris, just pick the 1 or 2 that you want to go with, and so like in reading the comments, and there are always these comments, and by the way, I mean, it's just something people do, but where it's like, oh, I can't believe you didn't take away a sin for this, or that kind of thing. I'm like, well, guys, I can promise you at one point I tried, because I had sin removals for basically like everything in this movie. Danae, what are your thoughts on Soul?
What? Oh, nothing.
Nothing? You don't have any thoughts on Soul?
I've never seen it.
I know. It makes me sad.
Cool.
It'll give you feels. So
yeah, I'll avoid it like the plague.
Yep.
I just remember
that's why I was telling you.
This one is, and it doesn't really make me sad. I totally get it. Live your life, do your thing, but live life and do stuff. But
go live life and do stuff.
But
that shirt is, by the way, still available, but we'll be leaving the store soon. So if you'd like to grab your Behind the Sins shirt, go live life and do stuff, you should probably do that before the end of the month, which is this next week, So
the day after this drops.
You got a couple days,
the day
guys.
after this comes out.
Okay, fine. Listen, I'll let it go one more week so we can get one more shirt sale, but then it's done. You can use code BTS for $5 off. Go do it. Okay, bye.
I do remember back when I was forcing you to see movies and talk about them on a podcast.
That sounds fun.
It felt fun until it didn't. But I do remember forcing you to go see Inside Out with me, and I remember sitting there and just being aware of how much it was like impacting you, and it was just, I don't know, it was so great, and you're rolling your eyes completely, which I understand, but yeah.
Yeah, it's so great to take your friend to a movie that she didn't want to see and then be like, cool, you're crying your face off. That's awesome.
It was awesome. It was emotional catharsis. It was good for you.
She can feel. Wow. Oh my God.
I cry at so few movies though. I kind of envy that sometimes.
Yeah.
When Aaron's talking about how he cried at Beverly Hills Cop or whatever. I'm like, wow, it's amazing.
Harold and Kumar.
Yeah.
It was very moving.
Yeah, it's just there are times and places to fall apart, and in a public place where you're surrounded by strangers, it's just not the right time to let it go.
It's so interesting to frame crying or having an emotional outlet as falling apart. That's an interesting framing. Like,
well, so for somebody who's not very let's say that you are a guru at emotion, and I am a Padawan, right?
Okay.
So
I don't want people seeing me cry.
It's like giving a weapon to a kid and being like, hey, here's this thing that you have so little experience with and don't want to interact with.
Yeah.
But here we're going to put you in a public place and let you have a crisis in a chair in the dark. You can get up and leave, but then you're the center of attention for leaving all of a sudden. And so I don't like it.
No, I guess I get it. I guess I get it.
Although in that specific situation, when I was learning that I put sadness in a circle in my own life and I was struggling to do it in the theater while realizing that I do it, which is so fucked up.
It's very meta.
It was so meta. I was like, oh, this is really powerful because I don't want to pass this on to my kid
right.
So with Iris, I'm really open with talking to her about feelings and that it's okay to feel those things. Because I would like for her to have a different experience with emotions. Because it's all kind of like jumbled together, I spike into being pissed. Like I'll be sad and then suddenly I'm just like, I'm fucking pissed. And I don't know why. And figuring out in a fucking movie theater is not the place.
I don't think that's as odd as you think it is, though.
I don't think it's odd.
No, well, you didn't say that. I apologize.
This is why I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
This isn't the right place to do this. I'm going to do this on my own time.
That's what you're angry about.
My own experience.
I'm
going to watch this movie at home or not at all. I'm just not, I'm just not going to watch it at all. I don't want to watch this.
But at home, you can watch it with no pants, and that's fun.
That's the best part because then when you're pissed, at least you're pantless,
You're comfortable down there.
So you're saying you're not pissed in your pants at that point. That's good. That's good.
There's also just some things that make me really angry about movies, and you can't stop it once you're watching it. Like, and my imagination is so vivid, and shit just sticks with me way too long. So like if they kill a dog or something in a movie, I'm just like, what the absolute fuck are you thinking? You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to write that. And so I get way too invested. I don't like getting invested because then I get disappointed and I feel stuff. I don't like feeling stuff. I appreciate
you explaining all that. I think that's good. I totally understand there's an intimacy to it, that there's a exposure to it. That makes a lot of sense. I'm built differently, and I just have to be aware of that.
And it's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. I don't know. I don't know if it's something that'll change about me or what, because as Iris grows up, I do want to see what she's seeing so I know how to process with her. And man, scenes with kids now, as I knew would happen because everyone told me it was going to happen. So I'm not surprised by it. But there's this whole other place that my imagination goes. I just don't like going there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, totally.
I don't know. I might just ban her from all movies forever, actually.
That will be a sure sign that she will be a movie lover. So
it might not be much of an issue. You might have to be more paying attention to like YouTube videos and stuff.
Yeah.
That's all my daughter watches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And occasionally like a Netflix show or something.
Let's talk about the sins, shall we?
What movie are we talking about?
Soul.
I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Jonathan, what are some of the sins that you wanted to mention?
Actually, I wasn't completely kidding. I kind of did forget. I was so caught up in Danae's story.
It was good.
Yeah, it was so riveting.
It really was.
Riveting.
It really was.
I'm not
it was
making
really
fun
good
of
stuff.
you.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
These are the things that people deal with. These are the things that we all kind of have to process in our own lives. And no, it was good stuff.
I don't mind being raw.
This is why I don't recommend movies to you. I don't want that. I don't want that responsibility.
You don't want that speech.
I don't want that responsibility. Like, I don't want to like get her to where she's upset because I forgot there was like one thing. And I try to like, if I ever watch a video and I notice something that's obvious, I'll like send something to her in Slack.
Yeah.
But anyhow.
But it's part of my job now, so it's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
It's something that I have to deal with, and I think it's good. I think it's important to learn how to manage the rawness of emotion.
Yeah.
That's an important thing to do.
You found Love Actually your favorite movie of all time. So.
That's right.
Fuck that movie. I mean, 100% launch it into the sun. Thank you, Jonathan.
You're welcome. But it has so many people in it.
You care about me.
It has so many people.
So many people.
Soul Sins. Who is this guy, Jason Mraz? I thought was really funny.
So good.
And here's another sin for me having to say marketing strategy.
Mm-hmm.
I loved what are the rules? Are there rules? You don't know? Because I love the Galaxy Quest thing.
Always.
And then you should, but you didn't, and now we have social media.
I love
like
that
how
one.
you get to that.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Like, what a leap.
Danae?
Yeah.
I really like the saxophone sins. At the beginning, just pointing all of those out. The 29% interest on car loans, just a fun thing to kind of see in the background. I think I appreciate those because that's the kind of stuff that I try to look for.
Yeah.
So that was a good catch. The already talked about was the escalator, but I liked how, which is a design flaw, unbecoming of the afterlife.
Yes.
Just the way that was described. Shower nozzles with only 6 holes, 100%.
Yeah.
I want one of
You're
those
welcome.
big ones.
How many holes do they normally have? I meant to go look at mine. I was just curious. But
I mean, ours has like at least 50.
Okay, mine has a lot, but only 6 are currently working, and that's why I am so upset.
I mean, there's definitely is more than 6, but I never really thought about
If you
it.
have a shower designed with 50 holes and only 6 are working, the water pressure from those 6 holes is going to like pierce your skin. It now
we
becomes
moved
a
into this-
water laser
This
at
is
that
why
point.
like Janae's like bent over because her back hurts so much she can't
That's
even
right.
like lean back in her chair.
We moved into this house a year ago, and it's just one of those things we haven't addressed yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, this is what came with the house. We're dealing with it. But it's one of those, every time I get in the shower, I look at it, and I'm like, I really need to take care of this.
Yeah. It's not even that difficult, right? I mean, I'm not good at anything.
It's probably
so
I think I just
build
need to
up.
put a new shower. I need to put a new shower nozzle in there.
That's what I'm
But here's
saying.
what
You
I
just go
do.
get the shower head,
Okay,
right?
here's my problem. As an imaginative person that has the extra gene, I want to hire a plumber and reinstall the plumbing system to go up to the ceiling and come down from above.
Oh, do like a rain shower?
Because my husband is 6'6".
Yeah, no, that's
And
a
I
good
would love
idea.
for him to have a shower that he can
I've
stand
always
up in.
wanted
For
that.
The,
Yeah,
you know
I've
what
always
I mean?
wanted that.
Like, so if I'm gonna do something, I kind of want to go crazy instead of just buying a new shower head. I just stare at it every time, going, I really need to do an entire restructure.
Some of the newer vacation properties at Disney World have those, and that was the first time I'd ever really experienced it. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
The phrase, I believe, Danae, is the perfect is the enemy of the good. That is what you're dealing with right now.
All the time.
Yeah.
That is it. 100%.
Yeah.
The last one I wrote down, there's so many, but the last one I wrote down that I'll just throw out is don't forget to reverse the polarity and buffer the abacuses.
So good.
Just funny shit.
Let's see. Last time I blew my shot, my girlfriend ended up being overdue as well. Just genius. First stop is the Excitable Pavilion, and then the sin is just skipping foreplay. I thought that was funny. Also, the way I see it, either the Jerrys constitute one being or God is a 2-time heavyweight boxing champion with a steady stream of grill-based income. That sin really got me, just because I love it when there's a next step to the sin where you have to be like, oh, George Foreman, because George Foreman named all his kids George. I get it. Like, I just love that kind of stuff. And then that's Karenist. I wanted to mention as well. There you go. Well, let's move on to keeping tabs.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
Oh, jeez.
This is the most public yet of my many humiliations.
We're each going to talk about something from putting together the content for the week. Jonathan, why don't you kick us off?
I only wrote on American Dad, so I did look up to see if that was Seth MacFarlane's sister that was voicing the kid, and it is.
Nice.
But I didn't have anything like that I did research on for American Dad. It was pretty straightforward.
Danae, you can go next.
I got nothing.
Wow. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Oh,
mostly because,
I didn't write on
again,
anything.
I
No, I know.
wrote on Falcon, but I was brain scrambled for like 3 days.
Yeah.
So even if I did research, I don't remember.
Yeah, you wrote on Falcon, but yeah, you didn't really write on Falcon. Like,
No,
it was kind of one of those things.
I had an out of body
Yeah.
experience.
All right.
And I'm just happy that one of my sins was mentioned as your guys' top. That was good for me. Sweet.
Well, I can talk about then doing some research on somebody else's sin. This is also from the American Dad.
Is this about a picnic?
video. No, this is not about a picnic.
You did research on one of my sins?
I did, because
maybe I did research then. I forgot.
It was either your sin or the shadow sin. I don't remember who did the riding the buffalo sin.
Oh no, that was me. I didn't have to research that. I've heard of that before. It was on back in the college or something. It was like a list of 50 funny sex positions or something.
So that's funny. I couldn't find it when I did the research for it.
It's called the bucking bronco.
Oh, the bucking bronco. Yeah. Okay.
That was the whole thing. Yeah.
Right. But I was researching if riding the buffalo was actually some sort of euphemism. Just because I kind of wanted to know before we did the sin, just in case it meant something else and we could, kind of play with it or whatever. And it is not that I found, although riding the buffalo, I think, and I don't know if it's from this episode has become this, but in the Urban Dictionary, riding the buffalo is described as when you jump on a friend's back without them expecting it, and they either have to carry you or fall to the ground. Like riding the buffalo is when you surprise them and jump on their back, and then they either give you a piggyback ride. And that's kind of what happens in this scene, right? It's like he just jumps on him. So that was interesting. But I did find some other buffalo-related Urban Dictionary mentions.
Before you get to that, I just need to say, because I think it's more appropriate here than later, this needs to happen more.
Let me just say,
when did I stop pouncing on people?
Yeah, I did it at about 325 pounds. That's when I stopped riding the buffalo. It seemed like I didn't want to kill anyone at that point.
I feel like I have a good enough circle of friends that if I just climbed up onto the arm of the couch and sort of just waited for Justin to drop by, I think I could just leap on him. And it would go okay.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it'd be fine.
Well, I mean, you guys do that dirty dancing move all the time.
That's right.
All the time.
Yeah.
He's perfectly... We can do this.
I think there's probably an age limit you want to pay attention to. There's certain pains
I'll cry out, "Buffalo!" as I just
make sure
fly
you've
across.
taken all your medicine for the day for your back and everything.
My Maltese.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure that the camera is rolling so that we have a video proof of this moment. Yeah. Anyway, what are you about to tell us about your buffalo research?
Yeah, some other buffalo euphemisms from Urban Dictionary include some that I cannot explain to you. They're even too dirty for this show. But I will go ahead and mention don't look up the buffalo blizzard.
No problem.
As put up on the Urban Dictionary by Buttcheek6969.
Hey, Google.
No.
Oh, sorry, I don't understand. Well, what use are you?
But however, the buffalo stance is when you stand with your arms tightly crossed, looking over to the side at somebody. This comes from the pose struck by Bruce Smith of the Buffalo Bills in the late 1980s. So when you cross your arms, it's called the buffalo stance. Yeah. And then that kind of leads to the buffalo squeeze, which is what strippers do when they cross their arms in front of them to make their cleavage look bigger. That is called the buffalo squeeze.
But only strippers?
That's according to Urban Dictionary.
Specifically, you have to be a stripper.
Well, specifically, I think you're supposed to be topless. And you use it to, you get your arms under and, Danae, if I need to explain how boobs work to you, I can. But yeah,
I'm just wondering, is a pole involved? And that's why it's stripper related? Or is this just in general, a topless woman is not pulling a buffalo unless she's a stripper?
No. I think the buffalo squeeze can be a non-stripper, but I think it is a topless thing.
It originated in that environment.
And then the buffalo wild wing, which I'll probably bleep some of this out. But the buffalo wild wing is a sex position where the guy with his legs and then the girl facing away from the man with. And then the guy grabs the girl's arms and flaps them like chicken wings.
Oh my God, what the fuck?
and that my
never
friends,
going to Buffalo Wild Wings again.
That, my friends, is how you do the Buffalo Wild Wing.
People have too much time. People have too much time on their hands to come up with this stuff, or they make an excuse for a terrible mistake that they made while having sex.
Or people have the exact right amount of time.
Wow.
So there you go. There you go.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow. So much sex talk this episode.
Let's move on to the comment section.
I appreciate your honesty. You're a real straight shooter.
You are the ones who are the ball lickers.
Let's talk about some comments from the week, wherever they may be from. Jonathan, do you want to start us off on this one?
Sure. American Dad was the one I wrote on, so I looked for comments on that. Ryan Gifford said, and I totally agree with this dude. I know Aaron won't, but Ryan Gifford or Gifford, I don't know. He said, I don't know, man. I think bacon and eggs ranks higher than donuts. If you throw in buttered toast, I'd absolutely choose it nearly every time. Yep.
Man, they're so different. I love them both so much. You're absolutely right. Bacon
Or
and
why
eggs.
not both?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. There's my answer. Why not both? Danae, what about you?
My comment comes from Soul. From Gak, who says...
Wait, what was that again?
Gak. It's Gahhck.
I'm excited for when we're on video for our Sin Club members, just so they can see the shape your face makes when you try to say stuff like that.
I'm genuinely getting nervous about going on video every week. We'll get through it though. So the sin is book fairs were the biggest lies our teachers told us. And Gak says, listen, you can have just about anything else and it's fine, but you don't diss book fairs. That shit was the bomb. You could walk in with $20 and leave with 3 books, a poster of a Lamborghini, and a big smile on your face. Those fairs were the biggest thing I missed in high school. And I say, by not getting those book fairs, we were robbed blind.
They have book fairs at my daughter's school, and she loves them so much. I don't think she's ever.
I love book fairs.
I don't think she's ever actually bought a book, but she always comes home with wacky pencils and
they're great. Book fairs are awesome.
Posters of cats and just all kinds of stuff.
I was really pleased.
Insane shared experience we all have. You know what I mean? Like that is it doesn't matter where you're from in America. Like you had book fairs in elementary school.
I bought books though.
Well, I did too. I bought like magic books and like stuff like that. Yeah.
I remember mine was in elementary school, and they would wheel in these massive rectangular bookshelves that were probably about 5 feet tall, and then they would open them up to go double.
Same.
And the smell of book print.
Same.
I still love the smell of book print. There are kids' books. Man, there's nothing like cracking open the book fair thing. It's just ink.
And everybody would get, this may just be my school, but everybody would get those little those little triangle pencil holders that you stick your pencil through so that your pencils don't roll. And then we would use them to play football with, like where you hold up the goalposts and you'd like flick them through and I remember all that stuff, man. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah.
They wheeled that stuff in on ours too, but I don't know if they do this everywhere now. My daughter's school though, they do it in the library, but it's still cool. I mean, they have tables set up and all that kind of stuff.
I'm impressed it's still going on.
I don't know if
but I also agree with the sin and think there's a level of gaslighting that happens with book fairs that is pretty impressive. That we all love them so much when it was just about books. So that's interesting.
Books are important.
All right. Mine is from, I did want to mention, somebody mentioned I understood that reference for Turkish Delight. And I meant to mention this during the video because it's interesting. The Turkish Delight reference in this video that we're talking about today was written before and produced before Turkish Delight was mentioned on the show. That blew my mind the next week when they started talking about...
Was that the next episode, or was it?
Yeah, the very next episode. Right. There's actually Turkish Delight.
As a plot point.
We would have never known that.
Yeah, it's a pretty major plot point.
That blew my you talk about a simulation. Like that's one of those moments where I was just I was just referencing Narnia, and then they make Turkish Delight a part of the plot the next time.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about it because we have a Turkish Delight sin, obviously. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say that. God damn it.
It's coming up. Don't worry about it. But my comment was from Delinquent, who says the donut police's favorite snack are munchkins because they aren't donuts but merely the middle of a donut that walked away from them. Not a healthy relationship without the filling. And then I really like that Josiah responded with, they're called Timbits here. Okay. Thanks, Josiah. Nice. I think he's from Canada, and that might be a Tim Hortons. reference. Maybe Tim Hortons calls their little donuts Timbits, maybe. I'm just guessing there. Anyhow, let's move on to Beyond the Sins.
To infinity and beyond!
Somewhere beyond my wild history.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
We're going to chat about something else from the world of pop culture that we have seen recently. I guess I'll go first. New HBO show called Mare of Easttown that has come out with why is her name? Kate Winslet. Yeah, Kate Winslet. And I watched the first episode. I don't like necessarily judging something until I've seen a couple episodes. But I really loved this episode. This has such good oh man, my brain is failing me today, but there was a David Tennant English show
Broadchurch.
Thank you. This has such good Broadchurch energy, and I loved that show.
Me too.
Where it's like there's a mystery at the center of what's going on here, but all the characters feel so real and fully realized, and yet they're part of this, little community. I'm really enjoying this. I think Kate Winslet is incredible in this first episode. She is such this person. It's a character I've never seen her do. And apparently the accent is good too. I mean, I know the Philly accent. I know Philly people. And so like I've heard people call water wooder, I've heard that thing happen. And apparently even people in Philly are like, she's like nailing the Philly accent. So I don't know. I'm really impressed with her. I'm impressed with the show, and I'm very interested to see how this mystery gets solved and kind of what we're in store for. So
yeah, I'm gonna catch up with it this weekend. I've got it sitting on my DVR, but I have not watched it yet. But I'm really excited.
Yeah, I could not shake the Broadchurch
sounds
feeling.
Sounds like right off me. Sounds like it's for me. So.
I think you might really, really enjoy it. But yeah, so anyhow, Mare, M-A-R-E of Easttown. I spill it out because at first I thought it was Mayor of Easttown is what I thought the name of the show is when I heard people say it. But no, the character's name is Mare, M-A-R-E.
Since you mentioned Broadchurch, though, I can't remember if we've had this conversation, but the thing about Broadchurch, that second season, though, was kind of a dud, right? Like,
I thought you were going to say it was almost better than the first season. I really like the second season of Broadchurch.
I mean, it was fine, but I don't know. I like the first and third is what I always think of, because the second season was where they basically...
Oh, no, you're right. I'm thinking of the third.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the third season.
The second season was they did the court case,
Yeah. I still like that, but no, I like the first and third better.
Because you like the characters. But yeah, the new mystery in the third season was really interesting. But yeah, Broadchurch, that first season, the finale where you found out who the killer was and you were just like, holy crap.
Yeah, Broadchurch is so great.
Never watched that show, Danae.
So great that they made an American version with David Tennant again. And I forget what it was called, but it was something...
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
That kind of blew my mind that they would make the same show with the same actor but in a different country.
Did you watch it?
I did watch it.
Was it bad?
I forget what it was called. No, it wasn't bad. It wasn't as good as Broadchurch, but it wasn't bad.
Were they just doing the first season though? Were they
kind of, but it's different. It's different. It goes to a different place. So
okay,
yeah.
The rhythm is the bass and the bass is the treble.
Mare of Easttown. Today, what do you got?
I'm going to talk about a YouTube channel that my daughter loves and is obsessed with called Major Hamster and Friends. These people, there's a whole group of people that create videos like this. Major Hamster is just the one that we started with. They own hamsters and they have a lot of free time and they create incredibly intricate mazes for the hamsters to run through. There's this one particular one. It's like it starts at the top of a pyramid. And then the hamster goes down to the next one. And then they've built all these wiggling bridges and monsters that they have to go through. And they have to go touch a button and then a door opens someplace else. And it's just incredibly interesting, very inventive. A lot of time and effort has clearly been put into these things. And she loves watching it. There's this one where the hamster is going from the top level to the next level below. And his little back legs kind of splay out, and it's just his little hamster butt sort of, and his little legs splayed out, and his little tail straight up in the air. And Iris and I just laughed at that for probably 5 minutes. So just hamster butt.
That's great.
So it's a nice little palate cleanser from anything meaningful other than just watching a literal rodent run through. Is a hamster a rodent? Run through a maze.
Maybe.
When it says Hamster and Friends, there are other ones that they put together. There's different color hamsters. There's a cat. There's a storyline where there's this evil cat, and then they have to go in and save their buddies and stuff. So there will be a lot of suggested videos that are other channels that are doing equally amazing things. But again, this one is called Major Hamster and Friends. And you can watch their channel whenever you want to because it's free on the YouTubes.
Nice. Major Hamster and Friends on YouTube. Jonathan, what do you got?
There's a new, I guess you'd call it. Oh yeah, I mean it is. It's a true crime documentary series on Hulu that just dropped this week. I guess a week ago when you hear this, called Sasquatch. And I decided to check it out. It had played a couple of festivals actually, and I had heard about it. So it released on, I think the 20th was when it dropped. So like this past Tuesday or whatever. And it's only 3 episodes. This is going to be kind of a wreck-a-warn, but I will say it's only 3 episodes. And so if any of this sounds interesting to you, it's not going to take up a lot of your time, I guess. What'd you say, Aaron?
Do they find the Sasquatch? Do they find it?
Well, that's
it.
Here's okay. So I don't want to because I will say if you're going to watch this, please go into it with as little knowledge as possible. Because I think
interesting.
I think that's going to make it a lot more interesting. But so this journalist, this guy.
So what you're saying is yes, they do find Sasquatch.
No,
cool.
That's what I said. David Holthouse is a investigative journalist. I don't know. I recognized him, and then he finally talks about something, I think in the 2nd or 3rd episode, where I was like, oh, that's why I know him. But I guess I won't bring that up either because it does kind of tie in. But he had some tragic stuff happen to him in the past, but that has nothing to do with this specifically. But in 1993, he was in a cabin with some pot growers, cannabis growers in Northern California. This was 1993, and some people came into the cabin, really, really flipped out. And they had discovered a triple murder, and the bodies were in really bad shape. It was just it was brutal murder, right? And so they said it looked like a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot had done it basically, and that's a legend in this area of California and everything. So 25 years later, he was. I think he says he was high or drunk or something. So it kind of got to the point where that story stuck with him. And so he decides to investigate it. He decides to try to go back and find out if that's what he heard, what actually happened, and so on and so forth. And that's kind of the setup after the first 20 minutes or so. I won't say anything else. It goes in some pretty... I will say, like, I would say I recommend it overall. Like, I liked it overall. I did think, like, especially the 2nd episode kind of dragged a little bit for me, honestly, but it does pick it back up, especially towards the end of the 3rd episode where you kind of actually find out what the deal is. It's pretty interesting. It also does a really interesting job of just talking about, like, how legends are formed, how myths are formed, why people, create these myths. They even have an interview. I think the guy's name's Hemlin. There's like that big, there's like, for the people that believe in Sasquatch, there's like the one video of the female Sasquatch supposedly turning around and looking back. They interview one of the guys behind that. And, so there's some stuff about that, but it goes off in a lot of different directions. And, I mean, I don't know, me saying I'm not going to tell you, you got Aaron saying that means they find Bigfoot. I'm not saying that. I know. Silly. I know you are. But it is interesting. It is overall, it's interesting. I wish I liked it more. I heard so much like positive stuff about it. I was kind of expecting it to be something. Oh, and I will say the Duplass brothers are the ones behind it. So,
well, I mean, that piqued my interest a little bit more. I like the stuff that they do.
Yeah. So, and this David Holthouse is a really interesting guy too. So it's definitely worth the watch. Like I said, it ends up being about 2.5 hours or no, it's more than that. Well, I don't know. They're like 45 minutes each. So whatever that is, I guess that is like 2.5 hours. So it's not much of your time. And I'm glad too, by the way, that's one thing recently, these documentary series that are like 5-6 episodes, like what the hell? Like very few of these things deserve to be that long.
How dare you attempt to entertain me for an extended period of time?
But it's like I watched the John Wayne Gacy one that came on Peacock like a couple months ago, and it's like 6 episodes, and like you're basically done with the story after episode 4. So when I'm like watching these last 2 episodes, it's just like recaps and stuff, and it's like, I just watched this.
It's like clickbait for its own show, where it
so
just keeps,
weird.
or one of those articles that you read where the title is, why did BTS get started? The origin story of Behind the Scenes podcast, and you click on it, it's like, so you want to know the origins of Behind the Scenes podcast, but first, before we tell you about that, you'll need to understand something about CinemaSins. Click next. So you want to know more about CinemaSins? Well, first, before we tell you about that, did you know about YouTube? It's just like
kind of.
This is unrelated crap.
There's sites that play those games where you can tell they're just trying to get like searched. That they're going to come up better in search, and so you're right. So it'll be like a whole first paragraph, 2 paragraphs of, you want to know more about Behind the Scenes podcast. Well, before that, let's talk about what the word behind means, and then let's talk about sins.
That.
So you're still here to know about Behind the Scenes podcast, huh? Well, let's, it's just like you have to scroll all the way down,
But in this case, you've watched a documentary and it's just repeating itself, and you're like,
I mean, that's kind of how it felt to me.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've been here.
It just, that happens a lot with some of these. I just feel like they drag their feet a little bit so they can get a few more episodes in, and it's like, most of these stories, 2 to 3 episodes, that's more than enough.
People say the same thing about our YouTube channels.
In the case
You're
of
just making them longer because you want more.
And I know
watch
there's
time.
examples of ones that work. OJ in America was a great documentary that was like 7 episodes or something a while back. I know there's exceptions, but I'm just saying in general, a lot of these, I just feel like they, I don't know. But anyways.
I mean, sometimes you have to drag your feet, especially if they're rather large. Like if you have.
Like if you're a Bigfoot.
Then you may have to drag your feet.
But yeah, Sasquatch. It's on Hulu.
Sasquatch on Hulu. Major Hamster and Friends on YouTube. Mare of Easttown on HBO and HBO Max. If you want to check any of that stuff out.
I should have picked an M name.
Sorry, it's your fault.
Man.
You didn't get the memo. The MO memo. That's going to do it for Behind the Sins this week. Don't forget to make sure you're subscribed. Go ahead and leave a comment or rating as well. If you've got anything you want to actually send us, we do have snail mail. You can mail it to P.O. Box 881, Republic, Missouri, 65738. If you want to hang out with us on Twitter, I'm at Aaron Dicer. She is at Danae Says.
DENEESAYS.
He is at Sam Loomis 13. So for Jonathan Watkins, Danae Hughes, a bag of White Castle gut bombs, and myself, we will see you next week.
Happy Poem in Your Pocket Day!
Thanks for listening. Send any feedback to bts@cinemasins.com. And be sure to subscribe, rate, and comment. Find more ways to connect by visiting cinemasins.com/BTS.
Click, 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 click. It is an interesting day, my friend, because today we have a bunch of people coming to our house for the first time in well over a year.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
are you guys, what are you doing? Like a cookout
everybody
or something?
who's coming is vaccinated. So like, I'm not, I'm not concerned at all in any way, but it's still weird. It's just weird, right? Like it's and I'm sure like 10, 15 minutes in, it'll all be fine. But yeah, right now I'm just like cleaning the house. I'm like getting stuff ready, and I'm just like, people are coming here. People are coming to my home. What is this weird world? We're doing the Sposkers weekend, and we do a Best Picture marathon leading up to the Academy Awards. So yes.
Yeah, because the Oscars are Sunday, which I already forgot.
Yeah. You know what? I would not be surprised if the ratings for the Oscars this year are like not only the worst ever, but like a quarter or a half of what they usually are. It's insane how few people even care or know that they're happening this weekend. Like, you're a movie lover. You love movies. Like,
I just keep forgetting. Like, I know, because I was thinking about it a few days ago, because I'm like, I got to watch some stuff. So I did watch Nomadland, which I thought was good. But I do want to watch a couple more. I can't believe how little I've seen that's nominated. I've seen like the animated and a few of the other ones, but not a ton. Like, there's a lot I've missed. And I'm not going to get to everything by Sunday night, but I need to watch some stuff. I'm really, I don't know that I'm excited to watch it, but I'm really curious what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
Like how the broadcast is going to be. And after like 45 minutes, I might be like, I don't want to watch it this way, but it might be too weird. But
it's interesting because, you know, Soderbergh is directing. And
Yeah. I read an article with him. I read an interview with him.
Okay, see, I haven't read articles. I've just heard like secondhand stuff he said, but apparently he like wants to totally change the way the Oscars run.
Yeah, that's what I read.
It's why. Like, what does that mean, Jonathan? What does it mean?
I don't know. He wants it to be a cinematic experience. No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm more curious about it, I think, than I have been, just because it's like this will give them an opportunity to, because they have to do something different because they don't have a choice. So maybe that'll turn into something interesting.
Yeah.
In the past, when they've tried to do stuff different, for whatever, like Letterman hosting, I don't even know if you were watching the Oscars back then, but like Letterman hosting was really interesting and fun. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, that like it didn't, they thought it was bad, and so it flipped them out, and so they went away from even, and then you never really got a host that was that kind of out there again.
Yeah, and they did like the Franco Hathaway tag team hosting that one year. That was weird.
That didn't go well.
I just feel like and by the way, it's great that we're having our Oscar talk now before Danae gets here.
Yeah, no kidding.
I feel like they always try to fix the wrong things. The host isn't the biggest issue with the Oscars. The biggest issue is you're trying to appeal to a general audience instead of just making it a blast for movie lovers. You know what I mean? Like there's almost like a watering down that happens of it. And I just think the Super Bowl didn't get to be the Super Bowl because they muted the football. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole point.
Late. I'm late for a very important date. Okay, I just looked at myself in the camera. I am wearing like this hoodie essentially, but I have my hair up in this spiky top bun, and so it's made my hoodie come to a point at the top. And so as soon as I log in here, as soon as the guys see me, I wonder what they're gonna be like. Wow, Danae, you look like a woodland forest creature or something. I look like an elf.
Hey, what's up, Danae? What's up, Slim Shady? I miss, they don't do as many of the like montages and stuff. And that's the stuff, like, especially as a kid, that I love.
Yes, because we love movies, right? Here's the thing, they're never going to get Danae to enjoy watching the Oscars. It's about movies. She doesn't enjoy movies. But we do. So, like, serve us. We love, and instead, they're trying to get the Danaes of the world and everybody else, who's not, like, into it like we are.
Well, that's like what were they trying to do there for a minute? They were going to have a popular movie category, something like that?
Yeah.
I'm genuinely worried about going live at this point because, and I know like when we record this portion, it's just us because we're going to go live when like the show officially starts. I don't plan on trying to pretend like I'm paying attention when I normally wouldn't.
Well, I don't think people would enjoy that. I think they'd want you.
I did notice. Attention. I will tell you when I edit the show. Multi-track, and I see all of our audio waves, on the three lined up in three different tracks, right? When you go to Beyond the Sins, it's so funny every week because when there'll be the big chunk of talking for each of us for our Beyond the Sins, and then like when Danae is talking, there'll be a little bit of, Jonathan throughout, a little bit of Aaron throughout, some conversation. And then as soon as it's me, it's just Jonathan every once in a while. And then when it's Jonathan, it's just me every once in a while. Like you are completely absent from our Beyond the Sins. Like every week. It's insane.
Every week.
Well, I send her away sometimes, depending on my subject matter. I will say I was gonna talk about, this was like months ago. I had a few options. It's not like this was a big deal, but I had just watched an aquatic horror thing, and I was like, I guess I'll leave that one off.
Oh,
because I knew.
Aquatic horror. Thank you.
Well, that's what it's called.
2 words. I don't want
even just saying that phrase.
If you give me fair warning, I'm fine. But even those 2 words together, we need to move on.
Tell me about your outfit there, Danae. You're like part Jedi, part 8 Mile. Like what is going on?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Now the Jedi thing's all I can think about.
You're like totally like a Jawa.
Where do you get
You're
these?
Like dressed like a Jawa.
Where do you get these
today?
hoodies? By the way, you have like the most interesting hoodies I've ever seen in my life.
Oh shit. What's really funny is that before you'll hear it in the show, like when you do the edits, I was talking to the audience and I was like, you just wait. As soon as I go in here, they're going to say something about what I'm wearing today.
Awesome.
I doubted myself for a split second. I'm like, no, they're not going to say anything about it. And then I'm like, I look like a fucking woodland elf. They're going to say something about it. Like I need fairy wings on my back and like elongated eyebrows.
Yes.
And glowing eyes.
Just in general, that'd be, good luck.
So I was playing Dungeons and Dragons with my friends, and it just reminded me of this. And they were talking about
Danae has amused herself. We now wait for Danae to rejoin the story already in progress.
I'm sorry. One of the people I was playing with mentioned something about a fluffer, and 90% of us didn't know what a fluffer was,
including you, huh?
myself. Right. And so we just start talking about it, and I said the trigger accidentally for Google. And so my Google Assistant pops up on my phone. And so I just said, well, what's a fluffer? And Google answered it for us. Do you want me to do it?
Well, I mean, I know what a fluffer is, but feel free.
But do you want to hear Google say it? Hey, Google, what's a fluffer?
On the website dictionary.com, they say, a person employed on a pornographic film set to ensure that male actors are kept aroused.
So then at the bottom, it goes into like, what is a fluffer salary?
That's a good question.
What is a fluffer
salary?
And then there's all these. Okay, I'll click it.
Sure,
I'll click it for just for the show, for us.
$15 an hour.
I'm not entirely sure what I'm looking at here. It's a list. Fluffer salaries, job title, Fluff Ice Fluffer salaries, 1 salary reported. $101,000 a year.
Wow.
But that says Fluff Ice Fluffer.
Yeah, that might be something else.
That might be like ice sculpting or something.
Here's one that says Cash
I'm going to guess
Boulevard,
they don't make $101,000 a year.
Cash Boulevard Fluffer salaries, 1 salary reported, $12 an hour.
Yeah, I figured that'd be an hourly thing.
Here's another one.
I'm guessing.
Adults Are Us Fluffer salaries. Here we go. 1 salary reported, $132,000.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's definitely talking about that.
Yeah. That guy must be good. Or girl.
But what was exceptionally great is then the ensuing conversation about what they do, how they do it. And one of the people that was on our call, she put her hands together and began to rub them like she was trying to start a fire with like wood on a campsite, like this. And she's like blowing on her hands, like we're like, what? No. And all the guys are like, no.
It's a different kind of wood. That's that is a different situation. Danae, will you tell me, like on a clock, like speaking in clock terms, where your dials are on?
Oh my gosh, please.
Where your it's really bad today.
Okay. I know. I need your help, man. Well, my board has been hit a couple of times. There's been stuff shuffled around.
It's just cutting off the beginning and endings of her words. Can
I just send you a photo?
Sure. Yeah, sure. That might be quickest.
Oh, we can do clocks.
No.
I like clocks.
No.
Okay,
send me
so
a picture.
My first one's at plus 45.
No. Hold on.
The far left one's at plus 45.
I just want to know, not the far right one, but the two.
The far left one's at plus 45.
I like that Danae was going to send you a picture until you said that's what you wanted. And then she's like, I like clocks. I'm going to do this instead.
Let's do clocks. By the way, 45, not a clock term.
I'm sorry. It's 20 minutes away from being 12:45. So what are you talking about?
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah. Those are jacked. You need to turn the...
yeah.
I told you.
Your processor is jacked.
All right, Danae, turn
I don't even need
way.
a fluffer.
Fluffer these things. Oh, no fluffers needed.
So those two
Fluffer
right...
my knobs. Sorry.
Your boob toes.
Shit, Jonathan.
All right.
Okay.
So move that dog's leg.
I switched over to pupper cam, Jonathan.
That's too funny. By the way, speaking of Twitter irritating you, I randomly saw a thread of people arguing over whether more people watched Falcon or WandaVision, and I'm just like, who cares?
Did Disney said Falcon though?
Disney said Falcon has had the most viewers.
People love arguing so much. I literally read a back and forth comment on Soul that was one person that says that sin was not a sin or whatever, and then the person responds, "You're obviously new to the channel, you know." And then it's this back and forth 25, 28 comments back and forth of them just arguing back and forth about one person saying, "You're not explaining why you hate CinemaSins well enough." And the other person being like, "I don't have to. They suck." And the other person being like, "No, you need to explain why they suck because they don't." Just literally repeating the same narrative. Can I tell you something horribly disturbing that happened to me last night?
Sure. That's what this is for. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So I finished up Dungeons and Dragons. It's late. I didn't eat a lot and I drank an entire bottle of wine. So I'm feeling pretty good. And I'm having this like fun mental buzz of all the fun stuff that happened in the game. I go take a long shower. I get into bed, which is my favorite thing because when I have Dungeons and Dragons night, that means like I have all the room to myself because everybody else is asleep. So I don't have to be like snuggled on. Nobody wants to bother me. I just get to kind of like crash in bed. So I crash in bed. I fall asleep. About 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I feel this thing on my arm moving. And I remember plucking it off, whatever it was, and then falling back asleep. About 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning, I feel this thing on my arm and I snag it, I pick it up, and I start to kind of roll whatever it is, you know, in my finger to kill it or whatever. But it's much bigger than I thought it was going to be. And so I grab my phone and I just turn it on to where it's just the light from
the screen,
the display. And I think, my God, that's a huge ant. Look at that. And then I'm about to just fling it, right? Whatever it is. And I think, no. I need to investigate. So I turn on my fucking flashlight on my phone. There's a motherfucking tick on my fucking arm. I don't know how. It has been weeks since I have been to the woods. I do not know.
And your dogs
how.
Don't have them or anything?
I mean, they just went to the groomers.
Yeah.
It's possible. It's possible that they went outside and they just like got a tick. I don't know.
You don't have to be in the woods to get a tick. I mean, it happens. It is weird, though. It is weird.
Yeah.
It came back. I flung it off of me. It came back to find me.
Yeah, wanted your blood.
Because it's like, yeah, that's that tasty arm. It didn't bite me. It was just crawling on my arm. So I am looking at a tick. I get out of bed and I'm going to go flush it down the toilet. And I realize a couple of things. One, that's a waste of water. I can't flush it. I'll just let it drown. And then, oh wait, Missouri wants us to collect ticks.
They are doing that right now.
So I go to the fucking kitchen and I get a little baggie and I open it up and I drop the tick into the bag. Now our counters are really dark color, so I lose track of it. I'm not wearing my glasses. I'm a little hungover. Like this is just, it takes me a good 5 minutes to, okay, the tick is still in the bag. I zip it up. Now I have to make sure that wherever I put this bag, it doesn't get accidentally thrown away or used for something else, like crackers or some shit gets put in there. And I send my kid with like tick snacks. So then I had to try to go back to sleep after that. And as we all know, then everything itches. Every part of your body that has any sensation, it just feels like something's crawling on you. God, it was awful.
Danae, when I said that BTS should do more TikTok, I wasn't talking about this. I was talking about the app. But hey, TikTok works too. So, you know.
We don't have a TikTok for BTS.
That's true. But we do have TikTok.
We do have a TikTok.
Noises. All right, here's the thing. Here's the thing about recording more in the afternoon is I've drunk a lot of water by this point of the day.
You're drunk?
Yeah, I'm drunk by this point of the day.
Here's the thing.
If you leave, though, we're not going to be here when you get back. That'd be hilarious.
Oh my God, Jonathan, do you want to leave with me?
But then we just have to come back because I don't want to get up.
I don't want to stand, Danae. What if we just hide under our desks?